and good morning to everyone. This video lecture is in continuation of the chapter 9 of Civics that we were learning. The chapter 9 was Laws for the Welfare of the People. This is the second part, and in this part we will discuss some of the laws that are enacted by the government of India for maintaining social justice as well as for the welfare of the people of the country. As in the previous part I have explained you about one industrial accident that was happened in the year 1984. Okay, about all those things we have learned, and we have also seen the market condition, that how the consumers are being exploited, or how each and every weak section is being exploited by the stronger section. Okay, so the government has enacted some of the laws that protect the people or the section of the societies, various sections of the society, okay, and various department, okay, from exploitation. Okay, so in this part we will learn about some of the famous acts that are enacted in various fields for protecting the rights of the people. So the very first act about which we are going to learn is the Minimum Wages Act. Okay, so the Minimum Wages Act, which was enacted by the government of India in the year 1948. Now what is the meaning of the wages? Wages is basically the salary or the pay, okay, that a person get, okay, for anything or work that he or she has done. Okay, so wage means is like salary only. Wage can be per day wages also, and it can be of monthly, okay, weekly, like that only. So Minimum Wages Act, as we have learned about this thing, that the stronger section are like the someone, the owner of the industry, okay, he want to gain more and more profit, and for that purpose he will definitely exploit the workers, like we have seen in the Bhopal gas tragedy. Okay, like so like that only, the owner of the factories or owner of the companies, they wanted more and more profit, and for that purpose only they started exploiting the workers. So Minimum Wages Act was started, okay, or enacted to protect the rights of the workers. So let us see what are the objectives of this act. Okay, so to provide minimum wages to the workers working in organized sector. Now what are organized sectors? Are basically related to offices only. Okay, so with this minimum wage was decided, okay, on the basis of that only, that for 8 hours work how much money per day a person can get. Okay, that has been decided, that less than that no company can give to its employees. Okay, to stop exploitation of the workers. Exploitation of the workers means companies give them less salaries and take more work from there. So for that only this Minimum Wages Act was enacted, to empower the government to take steps for fixing minimum wages. Like we are knowing now, day by day the rates of everything is increasing. Okay, and the salaries or the wages should also be regularized, should also be revised after some time. Okay, so it is also said by the government, according to this act, to empower the government. Okay, this act is basically to empower the government to take steps for fixing minimum wages and revising it in a timely manner. That means the salaries or the wages in organized sector should be revised time to time, should be increased according to the condition of the market. Okay, to apply this law on most of the sections in organized sector, this is also decided by this act, that how many sectors are to be considered in an organized sectors. Okay, okay, so this is only the feature of this act. Next thing is, the act lays down the principle of fixation of, okay, fixation of wages on different bases, like a minimum time rate of wages, okay, that for how many days wages will be provided to you. A minimum piece rate, that means different types of rates are decided. A guaranteed time rate, okay, that up to this date I will let's say in industries now or in companies, this is there, after completing 1 month the owner will give the salary. Okay, dates are fixed. Okay, so on which day they are going to pay the salaries. Okay, so like that only, days, piece rate, that how much for how much hour work, how much money they are going to pay. So like that only, overtime rates are also fixed. If some employee is doing overtime, means अपने काम से ज़्यादा काम कर रहा है, तो for that purpose also, for extra work he will get extra money. So like that only, it has been decided in this act ठीक है, कि which how much amount of money should be provided for how much work. The minimum wages may consist of, now how the minimum wages should be decided. Okay, it doesn't mean that a person who is doing 8-hour work, okay, the owner of the company or the industry is only giving him 100 rupees or 200 rupees for the 8-hour work he is doing, he or she is doing. Okay, it is not like that. The minimum wage that owners are deciding, that should be enough for earning or for living comfortable life to that person. So a basic rate should be decided for the wage and a cost of living of allowance. That means the in that wages or whatever salary they are getting, in that there should be their basic allowance. Okay, they can fulfill their basic necessities, as well as they can also pay their house rents. Okay, so a basic rate of wages with or without the cost of living allowance, and the cash value of the concessions in respect of essential commodities. In organized sectors, the like if I'll talk you about the railways, so railways provide some extra facilities also, like railways provides accommodations also, housing facilities bhi deta hai railway. Okay, for that also employer has to pay the rent, but that is very less. Okay, concession has been provided on those houses. Like that only railways also provide medical facilities, healthcare facilities bhi provide karta hai. So like that only the organized sectors should provide some extra concessions, okay, or should provide some extra facilities to the workers or the employees, those who are working there. Okay, minimum wages, all remuneration means the payment, okay, capable of being paid in money terms for work done if terms of contract were fulfilled. That means if any work is on the contract basis, so after the fulfillment of the contract, okay, so that is the concept of or the matter of mutual understanding between the owner and the workers. Okay, that how they are going to take money, like daily wages workers are also there. They believed in daily wages, daily salary चाहिए होती है उनको. Like that only weekly work is also there. Okay, monthly salaries are also there. So consist of, so salary should be consist of basic amenities, that means the person can fulfill his or her basic needs. Dearance allowance means daily ke kharche. Dearance DA, it is said to be DA, that means daily amount should also be given to them, plus house rent allowance. All these things are given in government sectors. Salaries are being provided in the government sector, like that only they got TADA. Okay, every 5 years basic rates of every industries are decided by minimum wages committee. That means every industry or company should have minimum wages committee, okay, that look upon or that is responsible for revising, okay, for revising the salary after 5 years. Dearance allowance changes every 6 months and is decided by government. DA is the matter of government only, and dearness allowance is decided by the government. Okay, now let us move further. Now segregation, that means minimum rates of wages may be fixed by any one or more of the following wage periods. That means a person can get by the hour, that means for 1 hour you will get this much money. By the day, that for 1 day, okay, your salary should be this much for 1 day. If you, according to that only, if you will work for 30 days, your salary should be like that only. By the month, salaries are also decided on the basis of months. Okay, by such other larger wage period and any other mean whatever they are comfortable to. Like some workers are working on the basis of contract, like for 2 months, in within 2 months we will complete the work. For 2 month work or for completing this many area or this much work, I want this much money. So like that only wages are being decided according to the comfort of the workers. Okay, so like that only the Minimum Wages Act was introduced by the government of India in 1948. Okay, in opposition, okay, or this act was formed against the exploitation of the workers in different sectors, so that to providing them their rights. Okay, so that all workers can also live their livelihood properly. The second act about which, that is also a labor act only. Okay, this act is also a labor act or for the employees only, the Plantation Labor Act 1951. Now all of you are knowing about the plantation agriculture. So in that plantation field, all of you are knowing that is the very delicate work. We have learned when we were learning about tea plantation, that human labor is only needed in the plantation fields. Okay, human labor ही चाहिए होता है, and for that purpose only humans are only hired for that. Okay, and their wages, okay, government has decided that since in plantation worker humans are only working as laborers, so for that also their rights should also be conserved. Okay, so that the plantation, those who are doing, or the owners, do not exploit them. So for that purpose only this act was enacted in the year 1951. Let us see some of the major provisions of this act. Okay, so what is the purpose of this act? To provide for the welfare of labor and to regulate the condition of work in plantations. That means to check upon, it is the responsibility of the government to check upon that what is the condition or in which conditions the workers are working in those plantation field. Okay, to provide them sickness facilities, okay, to provide them healthcare facilities, to provide them better food facilities, housing allowances, and all those things should be provided by the government. ये सारी चीज़ें government को provide करनी चाहिए. So let us move further. Major provisions of this act are, first of all, it regulates the condition of service in plantation, working hours, leaves and holidays. So according to this act, okay, this act has decided that what is the, in how they will work. Okay, their working hours are also decided by the government. Leaves are also decided by the government, as well as their holidays also, like they are not working on Sundays, they should not work on the holidays or festival days. Okay, so all of you are knowing that when in history we have learned about that for the purpose of tea cultivation there was the concept of bonded labor. All of you are knowing that Indians were taken to Africa, okay, for the purpose of, or as bonded laborers for working in the plantation fields. To stop that only, this act was enacted in India in 1951, so that the laborers cannot be used as bonded. Okay, they cannot be used as bonded laborers in the plantation field. Okay, to improve their condition. Sickness and maternity benefits are also provided under this act. That means sickness or maternity leaves to the mothers are also provided in this, or according to this act. Next is safe drinking water and sanitation are provided to the plantation worker. The government starts or begin the provisions of providing them the safe drinking water, as well as wherever they are living there should be the facilities of sanitation. That means they should be live in clean areas. Okay, so all those are decided. It is not only the responsibility of the government. Okay, so basically some private owners are also there. Okay, so guidelines जारी करती है government. Okay, that those who are using workers on plantation field, they have to follow all these things. Employers are also supposed to provide, employers, that means the owners, are also supposed to provide them canteen. Okay, recreational activities, that means there should be some recreational activities, means for their development or for their freshness or for their, okay, for that all those purpose recreational activities should also be there. Educational, that means educational institutions should also be there for the children of those workers, and housing facilities should also be provided to them. So like that only this act protect the rights of the people, those who are involved in plantation field. Now the Child Labor Prohibition and Regulation Act 1986. So as I have already explained you this Child Labor Prohibition and Regulation Act many times. This act was enacted in the year 1986. Okay, and all of you are knowing about, in the previous part I have explained you about the story of Mansi, and in that we have learned about that Mansi was worried about this thing, that many children are working in the crackers factory. Okay, the place where crackers are manufactured, many children below age of 14 are working there. Okay, so this act came into force from 23rd December 1986. What is the objective or the purpose of this act? An act to prohibit the engagement, that means the involvement of children in certain employments. This act has said that certain employments or certain work fields are not appropriate for the children to work there, are hazardous or dangerous for the children. Okay, it also decided the age that below which, okay, that I will explain you further, and to regulate the condition. This act also regulate if anywhere children are working, okay, so this act also regulate the conditions of work of children in certain other employment. If they are busy or if they are involved in other employments, so what are the regulations or what are the rules that a person has to follow before employing any child in any activity? Let us see what is the meaning of the child. Child means this act has given some definition. Child means a person who has not completed his 14-year of age, who is considered as a child according to the government. A child, the children, those who are below the age of 14, they are considered as child. Okay. Establishment means include a shop, commercial establishment, workshop, farm, residential, hotel, restaurant, eating. Okay, so all these places are known as establishment, like any industry. Okay, someone, they are working in someone's house, in any restaurant, in any hotel. All these things are considered as the places, like tea shop, dhabas. Okay. Now, prohibition of employment of children in certain occupations and processes. This act or Child Labor Prevention Act, okay, 1986, this has given, okay, or has decided some of the occupations where the prohibition of employment of child was done. That means there are certain professions or certain sectors in which children are not allowed to work. That is, no child shall be employed or permitted to work in transport, catering or construction by railways. Okay, there no children are allowed in this field. Firecracker shop, slaughter's house where cutting of animals are done, automobile workshop or garages, foundries, handloom or powerloom industries, mines, child should not be employed in mine activities, plastic units and fiberglass workshop, domestic servants, child cannot be utilized or used as domestic servants, dhabas, restaurants, hotels, motels, tea shops, resorts, spas or other recreational activities, as well as carpet weaving industries, cement manufacturing. That means overall from every industries they were denied. Okay, so students should not work in all these things. Not only this much, this act also prohibits the employment of child in any workshop where processes like beadi making, carpet weaving, cloth printing, means those chemicals are harmful for them. Okay, printing, dyeing and weaving manufactures of matches, explosives, in all these sectors children are not allowed. Okay, after that one more act came into the year 2006, that was Child Labor Prevention Act. Okay, this act was in continuation with this act only, the act that was enacted in 1986. Okay, this act has initiated some strict steps, like if someone, और amendment था ये एक तरह से. Okay, the government amended the 1986 act, okay, in 2006 because people were not following it strictly. So some strict amendments were done in the act of 2006 and it was told that this act made employing children a punishable offence. That means child labor is a punishable offence in India now after 2006. Anyone found violating the ban must be penalized with a punishment ranging from a jail term of 3 months. If anyone is found, okay, using children as a labor, so there is a punishment, that jail for 3 months up to 2 years, okay, according to the work where they have been employed, and they should also pay a fine from 10,000 to 20,000 rupees. Not only this much, the central government had asked the state government to develop plans to rescue and rehabilitate children who are working as domestic servants. That means there are child helpline, okay, services, okay. So if any child is forced to work as a child labor, so every state government should have child helpline centers, okay, that can work for the children and that can work for the rehabilitation of the children. Okay, after this also child labor still exists in India and it is a major challenge for India. Let us move further and learn about Equal Remuneration Act 1976. Students, when I was explaining you about the DPSP, that means Directive Principles of State Policy, okay, at that time only we have learned about one thing, that every state is responsible for equal pay for equal work, okay. That means we have already seen that there was a lot of discrimination between male and female in India, okay. Women were often treated as inferior in comparison to the men, okay. Like that only they were also treated unequal in the job sectors also, in their professional sectors also. And this was seen that females were given less payment in comparison to the men, okay, for the same work they were doing. Not only this much, it is also like that females were not getting promotions, okay, and male employees were getting promotions. So like that only, Equal Remuneration Act 1976. What is remuneration? Remuneration means the payment, okay, the payment of the work someone has done, okay. Like our salary is only the remuneration. Let us move further. This act was enacted by the Government of India in 1976. Let us see what are the objectives of this act. To pay equal remuneration to men and women workers. If a man, okay, and a women worker are doing same work, same amount of hour, okay, and same quantity of work, okay, then they should be paid equal salaries. To prevent discrimination on the grounds of sex against women in the matter of employment. That means women should also be treated equally as men in employment sectors. To provide increasing opportunity to women. That means it is not like that promotions are restricted for women just because they are married or they are having child, they have to take care of their homes. So it is believed that they will not be able to take care of the offices, okay. It was belief of past. To set up advisory committee to promote employment opportunities for women. Like earlier, there are many sectors in which the employment of women was not allowed, but nowadays in every sector, even in army, okay, navy, in every sector women are allowed, okay. So it is all because this act was initiated to promote employment of women in various sectors. Let us move further. The next one is the protection of women from domestic violence. Now students, what is violence? All of you are knowing what is violence. And what is domestic violence? This is also very much clear to you that what is domestic violence, okay. Domestic violence means the unfair activities or the unfair treatment that was done to a female member of the family, whether it is someone's wife, someone's daughter, someone's mother-in-law, someone's mother, okay. So the activities or the ill treatment that is given to the female, that is only known as violence. And we have always seen that for the dowry or for various purposes, the family used to torture, used to beat, okay, use rough words against the women. And for that only, for the protection of women from domestic violence, the act was enacted by the Government of India in 2005, okay. Let us see what was that. The act of for the protection of women from domestic violence act 2005, okay. Let us see. The term domestic violence given under section 3 includes elaborately all forms of actual abuse or threats of abuse of physical, sexual, verbal, emotional and economic nature that can harm, cause injury to, endanger the health, safety, life, limb or well-being, either mental or physical, of the aggrieved person, okay. This act provides protection to the female, okay, against every type of violence. It is said that violence are basically of 4 types. Physical violence is also there, when someone beats or tortures a lady. Sexual abuse is also there, okay, when someone used, okay, sexual abuse means when someone used to, means physically they want to use any female. Verbal, that means using abusing words towards any female, okay. Economic abuse means if the family does not allow a woman to go for jobs, okay, if the family takes all the monies of the females, okay, like that only, all these are the economics. Physical abuse देखो क्या होता है, and conduct or act causing bodily pain or harm or danger, that means for beating the women, okay, for anything, for dowry or for anything, okay, and it is hazardous or dangerous for her life. Sexual abuse means any conduct of sexual nature that abuses, humiliates, degrades, or violates the dignity of a woman to maintain, okay, sexual relationship with a female if she is not ready after that also. Forced, okay, forcing to look at pornography and all those things comes under the sexual abuse. Verbal and emotional abuses, any insult, okay, ridicule, humiliation, okay, name calling and all those things, that means using abusing words towards any female, that is also violence. Economic abuse, depriving the aggrieved person of economic or financial resources, not allowing him to use money, not giving him food, all those things comes under that, okay, not allowing the female to go for jobs, okay, so all these things, taking all the money of the female, okay, so all these things comes under the violence. Acts are being formed for that purpose also, okay. Right to issuance of orders, okay, this act provides them, okay, protection orders, residence order, that means the domestic violence act also provides females, okay, lots of problems are happening in females life, like after marriage, it is the right of the female now to get inherit the property of the father, as well as after divorce it is the right of the female to get the property of her husband, okay. Custody of the child, that means who is responsible for the child's responsibility, all those things. Compensation, that means the amount of money after divorce a girl can get, all these things comes under this domestic violence act, okay. So it is basically enacted for the purpose, okay, to protect the rights of women, okay. Now let us move further. Maintenance and Welfare of Parents and Senior Citizens Act 2007. This is the most important act because this is the thing that is lacking in today's generation, okay, that they do not value their elder parents, okay. As we have seen a lot of time that children used to send their old parents, okay, to the old age homes, and they used to just throw them out of their houses or beat them, okay, and take their all money, that whatever they were getting in the form of pensions. So the ill treatment of the family that they give to their senior citizens or the old parents, that only to protect the right of those senior citizens, the act was enacted by the Indian government, and that is only known as Maintenance and Welfare of Parents and Senior Citizens Act, okay. This act was enacted in the year 2007. This act basically benefits senior citizens or elderly parents who are unable to maintain themselves. The parents, those who are not able to maintain themselves, those who are not getting that much money that they can live their life comfortably after their children leave them, okay. So all those, for providing them security or for battling for their rights, this act was enacted, okay. So basically this act was there, okay. This act make it a legal obligation for children and heirs to provide maintenance to senior citizens and parents. According to this act, it is the legal activity, okay. Now legally children should take care of their parents or provide them that much money so that they can live their life comfortably, okay, by giving them monthly allowance. The children has to give monthly allowance to the parents. This act also provides simple, speedy and inexpensive mechanism for the protection of life and property of the older person. We have seen a lot of example that children used to take false signature of their parents, okay, they used to take all money of their parents. So for that also this act provides a speedy investigation in that field, okay, for protecting the property of the senior citizens as well as for protecting their money. Indian society lay high importance on providing care and protection for parents and elderly. India is having a great culture of respecting the elders and taking care of the family. But nowadays, as we are getting modern, this concept of respecting our parents, okay, and of taking care of our old parents is getting diminished from India. So protecting this only, this act was enacted in India, okay. What was the objective of this act? It is only that only for this act allows every children to give at least maintenance, okay, money for the maintenance of the old age people. Who is called a senior citizen? Now the question arises, who is considered as senior citizen? So according to this law, a senior citizen means any person being a citizen of India who has attained the age of 60 years or above. If a person has attained a age of 60 years or more than 60 years, that means that person is considered as elderly or senior citizen. Okay, so like that only, every child has to take care of their old parents according to this act. What is the punishment if children are not founding to do that? Under section 24, if anybody who is responsible for the care of the senior citizens leaves him or her in any place with the intention of wholly abandoning such person, is punishable with the imprisonment of either 3 months or fine up to 5,000 or both. We have seen in many movies, okay, that the child used to drop the parent anywhere and just leave from there. Okay, they drop them anywhere on the road, okay, and they left from there. So for that purpose also, under section 24, there is a punishment of 3-month jail and 5,000 rupees of fine. Okay, so it is to protect the people, those who are elderly, those who are senior citizens. Now the next is the Consumer Protection Act of 1986. We are the consumers because we consume the products that are available in the market. Always we used to say that, or maybe your parents used to say that, always check the manufacturing date of the product before purchasing it from the market. We used to say now manufacturing date and expiry date. Okay, so this right or this act is enacted to protect consumers protection. Okay, this act aims to safeguard the interest of consumers, those who consume the product. And under this, consumers protection councils have been set up at all the levels. Okay, that I am going to explain you. What is the main objective of this act? To protect the rights of the consumer, right to be protected against the marketing of goods and services which are hazardous to life and property, like the selling of acids or some drugs that are illegal, okay, or that are hazardous for anyone's life. Okay, so those things or those commodities should be restricted in the market. Right to be informed about the quality, it is our right, okay, that we should know about the quality, quantity, potency, purity, standard and price of goods. Okay, so there is an organization works, okay, for through that only every product is being checked and then reaches to us. Okay, a consumer can file a case against the seller if he or she receives substandard or faulty goods or services. Many a times we have seen there was a case started against Maggie also. Okay, that the product that Maggie is providing, about Johnson and Johnson also. Okay, so like that only, the things that are in the market, we as a consumer are having the right that if we are getting substandard product or if we are getting wrong product और कुछ ऐसा होता है हमारे साथ after consuming that product. Okay, so we are having a right to file a complaint. For that purposes only consumer protection councils are there. Okay, देखो, right to be assured wherever possible access to a variety of goods and services as a competitive prices. Okay, right to be heard and to be assured that consumers interest will receive due consideration at appropriate forums. We can file our complaints. Okay, right to seek redressal against unfair trade practices and unscrupulous exploitation of consumers. अगर हमारा कहीं से exploitation हो रहा है, for that also we can file cases. Right to consumer education. Okay, we are having the right to know about our rights. Okay, we can file complaint against an unfair trade practice or restrictive trade practices has been adopted. अगर कुछ भी ऐसा unfair trade हो रहा है, for that also we can file a case. Okay, so where we can file a case for that, we are having the rights to safety, hazardous goods and services. We are having a right to be informed. Everything you can see that it is also written or there is a mark that it is vegetarian or non-vegetarian. what are the ingredients they have put in that product, that is also given in that product. Okay, for how much date this product can be okay, that is also mentioned on the package. Okay, right to choose, we are having the right to choose whatever product we like. Right to be heard, if we are filing any complaint, it is the responsibility of the company that is manufacturing the product to listen us. Right to seek redressal, that means inquiry, there should be some inquiry against our complaint. Right to consumer education, right to acquire the knowledge and skill to be informed consumer throughout life. Okay, now let us move further. Consumer protection councils are there. There are consumer protection councils, that means the councils that work for our complaints. Central level पे भी होती है. Every state is also having state consumer protection council for speedy. Okay, district consumer protection council. So at all level we are having consumer councils in which we can complain. In each district, consumer disputes redressal commissions are also there. Okay, all these commissions or councils are headed by judges. Okay, so consumers, if for the protection of consumers rights, there are also laws made in India for protecting us, and if we are having any problem, we can go to the councils or the courts that are being made for the purpose of that. Okay, the National Consumer Council or the National Consumer Disputes Redressal Commission is located in Delhi. Okay, if we are not happy with complaining to a district commission, suppose that I am having a problem with any product, I file a complaint in district commission. Okay, and if I am not happy with the verdict of district commission, then I can go to the state commission, and if I am not happy with the state commission, then I can go to the national commission, that is in New Delhi. So like that only the Consumer Protection Act or courts are also working, okay, for protecting the rights of us, for protecting the rights of us as a consumer. Now let us see the next one. The Environment Protection Act 1986. Environment, a very big issue, okay, and a very delicate thing that should be protected nowadays. We have learned about that cracker scene also. We have learned about the Bhopal gas tragedy also. We have learned in that how a gas leak has destroyed the environmental condition totally. Lots of people, animal, plants affected with that gas leak. So after that only the Environment Protection Act enacted in India in the year 1986. The incident of Bhopal gas tragedy took place in 1984, and after that only the EPA came into force soon after the Bhopal gas tragedy. Okay, why this act came into power? This act empowers the central government to undertake all the measures. It is the responsibility of the central government to take all the steps to protect the environment. Okay, what is environment protection? Is a practice of protecting the environment on individual basis, or some organization should also work to protect the environment, as well as the government should also do various steps to protect the environment. Okay, now let us see the next one. The Environment Protection Act 1986 was introduced after the Bhopal gas tragedy during Rajiv Gandhi when he was the Prime Minister of India. What are the objectives? Providing for the protection and improvement of the environment, preventing environmental pollution in all its forms. Okay, to take specific environmental problems that are peculiar to different parts of the country. Specific environment problems should be taken, like the endangering species of the animals, okay, or plants, okay, and any human activities that are causing harm to the forest. All those things should be taken, okay, important factors should be taken into consideration. To coordinate the activities of the various regulatory agencies already in existence, to appoint environment officer. One forest department is only there for taking care of the forest. Okay, officers should be appointed to check environmental pollution, to improve the quality of life by protection of environment, as well as by establishing environmental laboratories that work, okay, to protect the forest and wildlife in the country. Laying down procedures and safeguards for the prevention of accidents. The Environment Protection Act has laid down several guidelines, okay, for the prevention of such accidents in the industries that cause harm to the environment. Laying down procedures and safeguards for handling of hazardous substances, the gases, the chemicals that are hazardous for the environment, that should be okay, that should be kept, or that should be handled delicately. Safe aside lands, set aside lands, that means there should be some pasture lands left for the animals pastures or grazing. Okay, so like this only, it is all about this chapter that we have learned about that how environment should also be protected. Okay, about environment, all of you are knowing that how we should protect the environment. Okay, so in this chapter or in the second part, we have learn about all the important rights or the laws that are there for the welfare of the people. Okay, so this chapter is completed now, and with the completion of this chapter, the portion of civics, or the this was the last chapter of civics. So civics portion is also completed. Civics part we have completed in social science. Okay, so I hope all of you will watch the video and you let us meet in the Zoom classes. Watch the video, read your book, and collect your problems or queries. We will solve it in the Zoom classes. So thank you, students.